David Cronenberg's early films, Rabid, The Brood, Videodrome, dealt with body-altering and the psychological and physical manifestations of exposure to technology, themes he explores again in his latest film, eXistenZ.
Getting a bioport fitted. I don't know. Can't do it. It's too freaky. Makes my skin crawl.
They just pop your spine with a little hydro gun. They shoot the port plug into it. They do it at malls. It's like getting your ears pierced.
Yeah, sure, with only an infinitesimal chance of permanent spinal paralysis. I've read all about it.
Hey, it's your chosen profession. Besides, once you're ported, there's no end to the games you can play.
In the near future, programmers of computer and video games have become international celebrities like pop stars. So when Levi Christopher Eccleston of Antenna Research chairs a seminar to test the company's new game, eXistenZ, he's delighted to have game designer Allegra Geller, Jennifer Jason Leigh, present. The game is literally plugged into participants via a MetaFlesh game pod attached to an Umbri cord and inserted into each player's bioport. But fanatical opponents of such games have managed to infiltrate the seminar, and during the proceedings, one of them opens fire, wounding Allegra, who, not knowing whom to trust, flees in the company of Ted Pikel, Jude Law, a novice security guard.
Hey. What are you doing?
Where's your bioport? Oh, don't tell me you've never been fitted. I can't believe it.
No, I was never fitted with a bioport. What do you care?
Well, you want to get into the biz and you've never played one of my games? You've never played any game.
Look, I've been dying to play your games. But I have this phobia about having my body penetrated surgically.
eXistenZ is the first original screenplay David Cronenberg has written since Videodrome in 1982, and there's James Woods again. And it's a playful parody of some of his early gross-out sci-fi shockers. As always with Cronenberg, the monster that invades your body is equated with sex. In this case, the director includes some outrageously suggestive scenes, like the one we've just seen in which the virginal Pikel, who's never had a bioport fitted because he has that phobia about having his body penetrated, is fitted out by rough trade garage mechanic Willem Dafoe. Much of the film is quite hilarious, but it's also probably prophetic, and sobering too, when you consider that the basic theme is that of a fatwa, in which the forces of reaction have targeted a gifted futuristic artist. Die-hard Cronenberg fans may prefer him in a less frivolous mood, but there's a great deal to enjoy in eXistenZ. Margaret, have you had your bioport fitted?
Oh, don't think so yet, David. Something to look forward to, going into my spinal column. No thanks. I mean, all the production design of this, these things are so visceral and disgusting, aren't they?
They are,
I mean, and as soon as you see one, you know, he's wonderful. Cronenberg, very, very funny. He's also a very cold filmmaker, I think. So there is that distance. But the thing that I find interesting in these films coming out now, and Fight Club, which we're going to talk about next week, has a similar theme of this sort of total disenchantment of a population, of a society that seeks extremes and edges to get some sort of meaning or sensation out of life.
Yeah, I got the impression that eXistenZ particularly is really quite prophetic. I mean, I can see these things happening in the not too far distant future, but the wonderful thing with Cronenberg is that he handles it with such a light touch. I mean, it really is quite a funny film. What would you give it?
I'm giving it 4 stars.
Me too, 4 out of 5.
It's none of your business who sent us. We're here. That's all that matters. God. What happened? I didn't mean to say that.
It's your character who said it. It's kind of a schizophrenic feeling, isn't it? You'll get used to it. There are things that have to be said to advance the plot and establish the characters, and those things get said whether you want to say them or not. Don't fight it. Just go with it.
Well, who better to dissect and analyse the work of David Cronenberg than David Cronenberg?
Some people have said that it reminds them of my earlier films like Videodrome and Scanners and even maybe Naked Lunch, which is not that long ago. And that probably is the result of it being an original script that I've written. And I have it's obvious to me in retrospect that I have themes that I constantly return to and a kind of imagery that I constantly return to.
eXistenZ. It's new, it's from Antenna Research, and it's here.
I find that I'm a very body-oriented filmmaker, and that it comes from my feeling that the body is really the first fact of human existence, and I find the further I get away from bodiness, the less real I feel and the less potent, and so I constantly return to that.
I was very disturbed by the game we just played.
What do you mean?
It had a very strong, very real anti-game theme. I mean, it began with the attempted assassination of a game designer.
Really?
The Salman Rushdie situation was really quite central to my conceiving of this movie. Not that this movie is political, but I don't see that situation as being political, really. I mean, I think Rushdie, for any artist, that situation was quite horrifying and yet quite fascinating, because we are all in a situation where we are creating things that come from us, but then go out into the world and have their own existence, which can be quite uncontrolled by us and can come back to haunt us in many ways, very much like having children. And so that is why I begin the film with the understanding that the character is an artist, in this case a game designer, but an artist, who is condemned to death for what she has created and is forced to go into hiding as a result.
No, is this really serious? Are you in danger? Death.
And the film plays quite like a comedy for the middle part, and I definitely feel that if people aren't laughing, then they're not getting the movie. But I did feel that way with Naked Lunch as well, and maybe Crash was not quite so funny, but and Nora and Butterfly as well, although there was some humor in that. But I think, for me, it's a very real way of looking at human existence to find it quite comical at times, and I think it's necessary to get some distance just for one's sanity.
I found this in my soup, and I'm very upset.
Well, I'm very completely involved in the design of everything in the film. First of all, I write it in my script, and then, of course, that's not detailed enough to actually physically produce the thing. So we had a huge design team, and people would make drawings and sculptures and models, and we gradually work to things, and by saying, that's not right, I don't like that, and trying to find reasons for that. So we finally defined the aesthetics of the film.
That huge bug. It's got 2 heads.
It's not a bug. It's a mutated amphibian. It's a frog, salamander, lizard thing. Sign of the times.
I'm interested in imagery in my films that is metaphorical, that has metaphorical potency. And that's perhaps because of my literary background. I think modern cinema really seems to be too concerned with metaphor or symbol and so on. It's a very sort of straightforward, mundane, to me, kind of filmmaking. But I'm interested in that. And then if you combine that with my sort of body centrism, you end up with a kind of body-connected imagery, which seems very natural to me, and still pleases me enough that I keep doing it.